Yasmeen Manyisha, Safety Press Officer with PennDOT District 11. I'm here today with Pennsylvania State Trooper Melinda Bondarenka and Allegheny County Officer Joe Risher. We're here today to talk about the current aggressive driving wave, which actually began October 22nd and runs through November 25th. As you might notice, we have a backdrop here which actually overlooks I-79 in the greater Pittsburgh area. So this is actually one of the roadways that we see a lot of aggressive drivers. And we just wanted to talk to the public, give them information so you all can be more safe when you're on the roadway. I do have a list of questions here that some of our motorists had, so I hope you guys can help me out and answer some of these.
Sure. Right.
All right, wonderful. So the first questions that we have, what behaviors on the road actually categorize as aggressive driving?
So some of the behaviors are speeding, improper lane change, tailgating, which is known as following too closely, running stop signs, running red lights, just not abiding by the posted traffic signs.
Wonderful.
Another thing we see is the steer clear law being violated. Whenever in Pennsylvania, whenever you see an emergency vehicle on the shoulder of the road, whether it be police, ambulance, fire, tow truck, you're compelled to get over one extra lane to the left and give that extra room to the responders on the side of the road. And if you can't get over, you have to at least slow down significantly as you go by to create a safer environment for those on the side of the road.
Great. I'm glad you mentioned that because I think a lot of people don't realize that Pennsylvania has a steer clear law. And it's actually made to help our emergency responders when they're working. So that gives them more space and a safer opportunity while they do their jobs. So thanks for mentioning that. Our next question is, what are the most common violations that you all have cited motorists for?
We see a lot of speeding, red light violations, also occupant protection, child seat belts violations.
Okay. Now, when we see our statistics, first I want to mention that we have over 200 municipal and state over 200 municipal and state law enforcement agencies participating in this aggressive driving wave, and that's every year. But when I look at the numbers from last year, it looks like law enforcement made over 41,000 citations, and this included over 27,000 citations for speeding, about 1,200 citations for occupant protection violations, and over 2,400 red light violations. So all of those together make up about 74% of the aggressive driving violations that you guys have written last year. Does that sound about right?
It does.
Wow, that's a very high number. So my question for you now is, when you all are looking to patrol aggressive driving areas, what are you looking for? What type of areas are you choosing?
Law enforcement agencies are looking for roadways that have a high number of aggressive driving crashes. That's usually what they look for.
Okay, great. And what should a motorist do if they come across an aggressive driver on the road?
First thing, don't engage the driver. Relax. Okay. Don't stare at him. Don't make gestures to him. Get over it. Give him some room to get around you and get beyond him. Let him get beyond you, so he's somebody else's problem. If it turns out to be a safety violation or concern, give us a call. Let us handle it.
That's great. That's great advice because a lot of times we see these aggressive driving incidents turn into very serious road rage incidents. So that's great advice so it doesn't escalate. Wonderful.
Also, you don't want to block the passing lane if you're traveling slower than most traffic. Sometimes that's a factor in aggressive driving and also road rage.
Wonderful. Thank you. Now, you mentioned speeding as one of the key offenses to aggressive driving. What are some of the dangers you see from motorists who are speeding?
Well, when you're speeding and not going by the posted speed limit, you can't react to situations like you would if you were going the speed limit. For instance, if a pedestrian walks out in front of you, oncoming traffic, just your reaction in general is not the same as if you're doing the speed limit.
And is there anything else that motorists should be aware of now that it's becoming fall, the weather's changing, what else do you want motorists to actually know so they can be safe on the road?
A good point. With it being fall, we've noticed leaves are falling onto the roads, roadways, side streets, and don't get raked up. Once they get wet, they can be as slippery as ice. So just use extra caution on leaf-covered roads.
Okay.
This time of year brings fog, so you want to make sure that when you're traveling in fog, you use low beams. Using your high beams is going to reduce your visibility and also cause a glare. And watch out for sun glare. Make sure you have a clean windshield and you have a pair of sunglasses handy.
Great advice, thank you. Is there anything else that you would like motorists to know so they can be safer on the road?
Avoid distracted driving and texting, cell phone use with your hands, anything that would distract you from the main focus, which is the road ahead. We want you to be safe.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Wear your seatbelt. Wearing your seatbelt is going to be your first defense with an aggressive driver and also your protection in a crash.
Wonderful. That sounds like great advice. Well, I'd like to thank you all so much for spending your time with us and giving our motorists some really great tips so they can be safe and make sure that they're not being aggressive drivers on the road. We want everyone to remember that safety is everyone's responsibility. These guys work really hard to keep you all safe, and we want you to work just as hard to remain safe. So thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
You're welcome.